How does separating ideas into buckets and inboxes really improve productivity? Let's dive into this, Paco.
Paperless movement, your productivity, your way.
An inbox is, let's call it a place where we can store things that needs to be processed. Inboxes allows us to pause, to take things calm, okay? To react when we are in the middle of the storm of any moment in our daily life, so that we can, at that moment, it's anything emerges, that it's an idea, something I have to do, whatever, I send into an inbox, because thanks to our productivity system, we will go through our inboxes, processing them using a routine. So the rule would be that any inbox should be processed. We should achieve inbox zero on a daily basis, all our inboxes, if possible. So that's important, because that's one of the main differences. An inbox needs to be processed, whereas a bucket doesn't need to be processed unless we do it on purpose. The inbox should be processed using our routines inside our productivity system, and the bucket, it's something that we process when we consider. The point of buckets is just giving some kind of a structure, because inboxes are useful for information and action, but buckets are used for information. It's a quick way of organize our knowledge, our information, so that it gives us some sense. It can create a bucket, for instance, named productivity, so that whenever I came out with a thought that I might consider interesting related to that element, we put it in that bucket. If I capture something from the outer world, an article, a post, a YouTube video related to productivity, I tag it as it, and it goes into that bucket, so that the moment that I go into that bucket, I see everything that more or less makes sense for me and helps me to keep developing my knowledge and the link between the different elements.
So the inbox is there to have your intermediate bucket if you like, but this needs to be processed. That's an action item, and it needs to be triaged. So you move it into the final destinations.
People get confused and struggle because they think only about the implementation, and the implementation depends on the tool. Talking about the concept of a bucket, for instance, a bucket can be also a whiteboard. So it's much better to think about places related to inboxes and buckets, and then it's the workflow behind, okay, the concept behind that really gives meaning. Because if we force the things to the implementation and just thinking about tools, it's when we get confused. So it's much better to step back, run away of the implementation, okay, and really understand why is it useful. Buckets are useful because I can quickly imagine that I'm capturing a post or whatever. I can quickly at that moment tag it, and it's going to different buckets, so that I can filter that information by using that bucket. The moment that I'm inside a bucket, referring, for instance, to Heptabase, that we have a whiteboard. Imagine a huge whiteboard that it's productivity, and inside I have more whiteboards, sub-whiteboards. Well, that is structure that makes sense for me. That's the concept, okay? And I think that it's much better to think that an inbox is something that I use, an element, a tool, a place that I use to store things that I need to process. No matter what happens, it's mandatory for me. If I came up with a task that I need to take action on, maybe capturing my task management system to later on process it correctly. And that's the powerful thing about inboxes. They give you time to breathe, to think, to analyze, to create things properly in your productivity system, because the moment that you dedicate just a few minutes to process something that you have quickly captured on the go, the byproduct of that, it's directly productivity, becoming productive, because the end product, okay, the outcome of that processing, that people think that processing should take hours. No, it's just a matter of minutes with each item, or even seconds, okay? Because maybe you didn't even have the time to think about the right bucket you want to send it. And the moment that you see it in your inbox, you say, oh yes, this goes to this, to this, to there, and that's it. And it's already done, boom. For instance, talking about the inbox, how many times we just send it to the created date, and that was it. They maybe add a quick comment. That's processing an inbox. That's why inboxes should never become overwhelming, and instead we should see them as allies. The life of a busy professionals, having the calm of knowing that everything is under control, because you can quickly capture anything on the go really quickly. And the moment that you know that it's captured, it's safe and sound, because your productivity system will take care of itself on autopilot, and that's the sensation of control. You don't miss anything, and everything will end up in the right place. That's the main purpose of an inbox, compared to the purpose, the ultimate purpose of a bucket, that is just giving some additional context to any kind of information. I'm improvising this, but I think that buckets only make meaning for information. I don't see a bucket related to action. Okay, I think that is just information to give some structure, and that's it. I'm adding a little bit of context to that piece of information.
Yeah,
and
it's only related to action the moment you have to make an action and you have to find relevant information for this action. That makes it so highly efficient to find this information later on. And it's also, I wanted to add there where you talked about inbox and how easy it is to process the inbox. That's also obviously not only when a system is running, but once you use a system on a regular basis. So that's what people always think. They are overwhelmed with thousands of emails that are not processed in their email inbox. But what they don't know is the moment you overcame this and then have a routine in place that keeps the inbox at 0, you will process a lot less emails every day, and you will become more efficient by triaging through your inbox even more efficiently on a daily basis. And that's something that is really amazing to achieve.
So how do you feel after seeing all this? Do you think your productivity system is at this level? Take our free 3-minute quiz to find out. Whether you struggle with note-taking, PKM, task or project management, or even workflow automation, we've got you covered. Depending on your results, you'll get a tailor-made free email course starting right after you finish the quiz that will instantly level up your productivity system with laser-focused, actionable advice. Click the link in the description below and unlock your full potential. And we are personally here to help you succeed. So let's ICOR together.